L.A. Now I'm on the East Coast, and I'm a forgotten man. Dennis, how are you, man?
What's up, big man? I'm hoping that L.A. and San Francisco find it in their hearts to declare themselves sanctuary cities for actual American citizens who choose to go out in public wearing a mask or without a mask. Maybe that would be a nice thing to do.
Now, as I mentioned, you're in Santa Barbara, and I love Santa Barbara, and I had all those bars there. Have you been able to go out in Santa Barbara at all? Are you locked in?
Well, listen, I'm not exactly a gallivanting man, and at age 66, I'm not hitting the bars on Lower State Street. I go out here and there to the hardware, the grocery store, stuff like that. But no, I don't think anything's open up here, quite frankly, as is the case across, it would appear, the world.
Now, we did a story earlier where a guy from Olympia, Washington, jumped in his car and drove 648 miles to get a haircut in Yuba City, California, and even that barbershop wasn't allowed to be open, but he opened for him anyway.
And here's the coda to that story. They gave him a fucked up haircut.
Oh, my God.
Christ, you go home and and your neighbors say, "Who the hell gave you that haircut?" And you go, "Some cat I never met in Yuba. I drove 600 miles."
Dennis, obviously you're doing a lot of stuff. I mean, you're doing everything. You have a podcast, and you've done radio and podcasts for a long time. At DMZ is your Twitter handle, and you're on social media. And I see you're back on doing a lot of television stuff. So, obviously, in these tough times, it calls for a man with your mindset, where you can let people understand what's really going on out there, or people who disagree with you, who can yell at you even harder now because you're on the wrong side, in their opinion.
Well, listen, you go on the internet now, all I can say is this. I've never had more people who wish me dead worry about my health than right now.
Wait a minute, let me give you one of these. Thank you. I haven't done a rim shot in a while with a live comic on. Now, I had Eleanor Kerrigan was on, a Philly girl.
Friday,
she was on. We did. I think I gave her one rim shot, but I always have the rim shot ready just in case, because we really can't have a live drummer in here like we used to back in the day.
We don't have the room for it. Right?
Yeah, we don't have the room.
I think de Blasio sent out an official memo on New York City letterhead. You saw that about how rim shots during time of Corona are to be outlawed. Honest to God, somewhere you can research that somewhere along the line.
Wait, no rim shots?
I'm pretty sure that de Blasio put something like that out, or his health department did. I now see that Major League Baseball is not going to allow spitting or high-fiving, and I'm thinking, my God, I know there's a virus out there. This is crazy what we're doing, and if you say anything, immediately they're on you like you're the worst person on the planet. I'm telling you, there's certain places in America that should have never been shut. There are other places that had to be shut, and we should start loosening it up now. I don't know. You know, everybody wants to live forever, curled up in a quasi-fetal position in the corner of their room. I don't get it. I'm sorry. It seems the opposite of intrepid. At some point, we're going to have to get up and get out.
Yeah, what makes it worse is, have you seen baseball gave its players 67 pages of things that they need to do to get baseball back? We got players like Bryce Harper playing Fortnite and complaining about stuff, and guys saying, "Oh, I'm going to go back for only half the money I was going to make." And now you're going to tell these guys that they can't go into a hot tub, a cold tub, a sauna, can't get a rim job in New York. I mean,
you can't take a shower after the game.
You can't take a shower after the game. Yes, New York City declares war on rim jobs in graphic health department memo. I didn't get that memo. I may have to check it out after the show.
Listen, they know you've always practiced good rim job. They're just trying to save some paperwork there. I do know this. The Astros have gotten a memo saying they have to use a Congo drum condom this time around if they're going to beat out the Signals here, because they don't want any spittle coming off the hide of the drum kit when they're signaling whether it's going to be a fastball or a curve. It's absolutely crazy. I hate how we've overreacted to this.
And it's getting worse every day. It's not that it's getting better. I mean, we can see the numbers coming down. And listen, they open everything today. See, that's the problem. There's extremes. It's either, I want everything open today, or, no, we have to wait till a vaccine. And there's no in between. And these governors who are doing this has been my biggest beef, is that how do they know what's essential and not essential? I mean, you're going to tell a barbershop they're not essential, but some other business that they're essential? Who makes up these? Where do these rules come from, man?
Well, listen, Gavin Newsom had to do a make good because at one point on record he said, I'm working hand in glove with the president on this. He got good results. Somebody told him, listen, you've got to get this right. And thus, I'm now receiving save-the-date cards from Gavin Newsom for next year's quarantine. He's just trying to catch up here, man. He made a big mistake. He said Trump wasn't evil incarnate, and now he's got to do a make-good. So that's all that's happening. The woman up in Michigan with the IMAX screen for a forehead, I don't know much about her, but I do know this. Anytime they let you give the speech against the State of the Union afterwards, they're priming you. And at some point, she's got to establish her bona fides. And listen, this whole thing that Trump is responsible for this, I look over at Joe Biden. Joe Biden's going to solve this. For God's sakes, Joe Biden is in his basement more than the senator's daughter in Silence of the Lambs.
Oh.
He can't fix this, for God's sake. He thinks bottled water tastes better if you shake it. This guy should be the third guy in a Sonic commercial in the back seat popping up with the tater tots. He shouldn't be the president of the United States. Who's kidding who?
I love getting a private show from, well, it's not private. I mean, we're all over. We're on Sirius XM. We're on SB Nation Radio. We're on Twitch. Just like you were taking over with the podcast. This is what the world needs. It needs voices who can speak loudly to the morons of the world who don't understand anything anymore.
Well, like you said, it's just common sense, some of this stuff. There are places that should not have been shut down. There are other places that could have opened a while ago. There's some places that should open today. There's some places that shouldn't open for another month. But to think that you have morons like Ralph Northam, whereas down in, is he in Virginia?
Yep.
The guy who was at one point fighting for his life because he was either in blackface or a Klan robe. All of a sudden, he's in the virtue signaling business, and he's going to extend this thing out. Do you think if Mueller had stepped up to the plate that day and testified, locked down the collusion charges instead of looking like he got hit in the head with a wrecking ball, do you really think these guys would be playing this in the rim country, all these cats in the states where the draconian rules have been instituted? Of course not. They've got to weaponize this a little. Do I think there's something out there? Of course I know it's out there. I'm getting sick of spending half my day doing caveats about race, sex, viruses. Of course I know that, though. But we have overreacted with this blanket thing. It's idiocy. It's time to put it's time to put the pedal to the metal in certain parts of this country and get it back up to speed. And I'm sick of power mad guys doing a power grab and trying to position themselves to be a good Democrat with some of these stupid things.
Now, there's a story out that the president announced today that he's been taking hydrochloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine?
It's hydrochloroquine. And he's been taking it for a few days, and now, of course, people are going crazy. How dare he take something that he read from doctors that was actually getting some results, and he's been tested every day, and now apparently announced today that he's been taking it as well for about a week and a half now.
I think it is hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah, it is hydroxychloroquine, yes.
It's been for 2 weeks. He also took a Z-Pack, but he said you only take one. He followed the advice. If you do too many, you disturb your gut, your flora and fauna in your gut. So you only take one of those, and then he said he takes the zinc, too. And he brought it up pretty matter-of-factly. And you're right, they'll go apoplectic. But this is the thing about going apoplectic for the last 1,050 days. It's falling on deaf ears at this point. This is before the guy even got in. I know the guys at Gaucherie some days. There's some days I shake my head and I go, I don't get that. There are other days I think he's doing a really good job. But I'll say this about Donald Trump. Donald Trump's outer voice is an entirely accurate depiction of his inner voice. Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, James Comey's inner voice and outer voice have never even had a cup of coffee together. That's why he's resonating. They can roll Biden out there later in the year. To me, Biden should be working the door at the NFL concussion protocol tent on the sideline, all right? He's shakier than a rescue dog in Phil Spector's house. If that's who they're going to roll out, Trump's going to have another 4 years, and they'll spend the entire time telling you how he's evil incarnate. But guess what? People aren't buying it anymore. They overplayed their hand. Yeah, there are days you shake your head. There are other days you think good for you.
Dennis Miller. Now, where do we get the podcast? Of course, it's on Westwood One, right?
Westwood One, yeah.
Yeah, well, after saying that, I guess I should tell you it's on All Pravda Radio. No,
well, is that available? Now, I hear they're picking you up. They're picking this show up, too, next week. It's the Dennis Miller option. And
it's on Westwood One, brother. I appreciate your time today. How you guys? You good?
I'm good, man. I feel good. I'm going to be 68 next month. I'm not afraid to go out. My mother's 96. I went to see her for Mother's Day. Yes, I wear a mask. I worry about everybody around me. But I'm not going to go out. I'm going to live. The people that have businesses that are being, did you see the story in New Jersey? Right,
the gym owner, yeah.
The gym owner in New Jersey who announced last week, he told everybody he was going to open his business on Monday morning, this morning.
He's going to defy the governor.
Right.
Yep.
And what he did is he took his entire gym, cleaned it out, moved his equipment 6 feet apart, put squares around it on the floor, has sanitizer everywhere, is a private gym where you have to be a member to get in, is taking everybody's temperature, making sure everything's sanitized, checking them every day. And, of course, they sent the police there, and the police went up with a crowd of people and said, you're violating the Governor Murphy's order, but have a good day, by the way.
With that said, have a great day.
Have a great day.
Safe.
And they left. And then the crowd went wild. And now, of course, all the people, he's going to kill these people in his gym. They're all going to die. Check back in 14 days. How many times have you heard check back on those people in 14 days? Like they're rooting for people to die.
Yeah, these are the crazy workarounds you have to do in liberal states nowadays. Out here in California, if I'm in a restaurant, I don't ask for a straw anymore because they'll look at you like you're Satan incarnate. I ask for a syringe because anything goes. They'll pass those out left and right.
And don't go to the bathroom on this. Well, they don't do that in Santa Barbara, though. Nobody's pooping on the streets there.
San
right?
Francisco, I think.
Yeah, no, it happens in other cities.
No. Hey, listen, no, it's not like San Francisco. For God's sakes, I'm applying for a civil service job in San Francisco to run the shit Zamboni machine down in Union Square. You got to come in between periods and skim it out a little so Pie McKenzie can hurdle into the corner for the Bruins.
Oh, that's great, Johnny Pie-Face McKenzie knowledge from back in the day. Even though you're a Pittsburgh guy, I thought you dropped some Penguin knowledge on us, man.
Well, I love Penguin knowledge, but I remember Boston Garden had the much abbreviated rink. I think it was a lot shorter than most rinks.
Yep.
And Pie and Chief Music and Cashman, you'd go into the corner, guys would be looking around 5 feet before they got the boards because you know that those Top Gun maniacs had vapor lock and were coming in just to put your face into the aquarium.
Yeah, could you imagine that now, that the old Broad Street Bullies in 70s days of the National Hockey League, they would have that shut down in 10 minutes if they were doing that anymore.
Yeah, listen, Dave Schultz hit John Van Boxmeer so hard he knocked the coronavirus out of him.
So you're not going out at all, right? So everything's virtual now. Now, you're used to doing it. You did the HBO show, by the way, that was on years ago. That was one of my favorite shows, man. That was phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
And I
go out here and there, and I'm not going to be a ball buster. If some people are worried about it, I would tell them I've been out and about. If they invite me to dinner, I'm going to dinner with some friends tonight. I've told them, I said, listen, I go out and about. They go, we do too. There's a whole underground movement going on here. This is crazy. This is the next thing that they're signaling you out for to indicate you're a bad person. Listen, if you can't go out and walk on a half-empty beach with your dog at sunset, then this is the Andromeda strain. We're all dead anyway. You might as well go down and get your feet wet here and there. This whole thing's gotten too much. It started with that believe every woman thing where you heard that and you go, well, that sounds crazy to me. What if the woman's lying? Then all of a sudden there's a storm approaching Florida and they evacuate the entire state of Florida. This effort to keep everybody alive for the rest of time so you can incessantly lecture them about what you're doing wrong with that time it's not playing anymore. It's all falling apart. As I said earlier, there are too many people out in the streets with love in their heart who want you dead if you're not as loving as they are. It doesn't hold up. Its core premise is flawed.
Hey, Dennis, when do you think we'll get sports back? Or will we get sports back?
Let me see. Dana's, I talk to Dana here and there. He's done the right thing. It's a little silly having it in an empty hall, but that's what he has to do right now. Mm-hmm. Baseball, if they're still as neurotic as saying you can't chew sunflower seeds and spit them out, then I don't know if they're close, but they have the virtue signal. Listen, look over at the NFL, for God's sakes. It's nice that they did this thing, but if you were a black coach right now, and they started playing this game of Stratego, where if you interview a black coach in the 4th round, you get to move up 5 spots. If you hire a black coach in the 3rd round, you get to move up 15 spots. If you keep him for if you were Anthony Lynn or somebody like that, wouldn't you say, what are you, patronizing me? Are you absolutely crazy treating me like that?
No, I agree with you, and people will see that as an incredible gesture. But I've seen, basically scanning all the different columns that I read, that most people are saying this is insulting.
Yeah,
it's insulting to minorities who work hard, and when they get their job, they earn their job. The token days are over, man. And I understand there's some rich old white guy owners, but I don't think there's many of those guys left. And if they are, who are they, and why don't they get singled out in their own local markets?
All I know is, man, I heard a cat on the NFL Network call in the other day, and he was absolutely indignant. He's not in the coaching business. He's just a brother who listens to the show, and you could hear him playing all this set-aside stuff in his head and thinking, my God, is that how much help you feel I need to be a coach in the NFL? You think Tony Dungy ever played that crap?
Nope.
Listen, there's 32 of those jobs. You shut up until you get one. You coach your ass off, and then you get whacked eventually anyway. Everybody gets whacked. And to bring all this crap into it, where you've got to play some feel-good game. Listen, Roger Goodell is a completely insipid cat. He's on the clock for $40 a year. I get it. But the moment he said he wants to make it the state filing game, and then he said, but they're still going to play on Thursdays. And the player said, but listen, the only substantive thing we're asking of you is not to play on Thursday. We do feel that's dangerous. Other than that, we're big boys. We know what we signed up for. We know that it's a dangerous game, but we do not want to play Thursdays. And he said, well, I care very deeply about it, but you will play Thursdays. He's complete virtue signaling. He virtue signals more than most teams in the NFL fair catch, and it gets tired after a while. Who do I think is going to step up and play? It might be the NFL, but I get a feeling they can't come right out of the box and play because they'll get laid into it. He's not a strong enough guy. It's not like you're dealing with Kennesaw Landis over there, so he'll fudge it around a little. I think baseball will get back in, but like I said, is it going to be baseball? Are you allowed to sweep tag somebody at second, or are you condemning them to a death in a viral colony? It's absolutely crazy what's gone on. I admire Dana White for stepping up and just saying, listen, I'll play by the rules, but enough is enough. We've got to get back to the living, man. That's what I feel like. It's Morgan Freeman at the end of Shawshank. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Exactly right. That's the bottom line. And, I mean, you and I feel alike on this. There are people who say, these people who want to open businesses, is saving your business and your life savings more important than living? That is your life. If you don't have that, what is your life worth if you have no business that you invested your entire life savings and heart and guts into trying to keep open and being told that it's not essential by some moron sitting in a state capitol who has no clue what's essential?
Yeah, this is the life I want. I want to sit in a fucking sandbox like Brian Wilson after he flipped for the rest of my life. For God's sake, get on with it.
He wrote some great music during that time.
Well, yes,
he had his feet in the sand in his living room.
Yes, yeah, but even he eventually, if even he looked up at the wife and said, "What the hell have you let me in this sandbox for the last 5 years? Let's go get a Tommy's burger. What are we doing?"
Well, the world has come close to an end when people are ordering pizza thinking that it's from Pasquale's and it's actually Chuck E. Cheese. That's another one of the big stories out there. Chuck E. Cheese.
You always look for the pebbling on the bottom of the za, and you'll know it's from the Chuckster if you look for that pebbling on the bottom.
Well, Dennis, it's great catching up with you, man. Always love the
Good
sardonic.
to talk to you, brother. Who's your cohort there? What's his
That's
name?
Harry Mays, and then Miss Robbins, the producer, and we just have fun every day. I've done this my whole life. I just have fun every day, no matter what's going on. You got to look at the positive.
Pro.
Thank
Listen,
you.
how long I've known you for ages. We haven't talked in a while. I'm not trying to feign congeniality, but we talked years ago. I used to always love the thing that Warren Beatty and Dustin Hoffman and Jack Nicholson, they lived the life of pharaohs, but they would call each other pro because at the end of the day, they dug the fact that they were professional. And when I talk to a guy like you, that's what pops in my head. I go, he's a pro, for God's sake. That's how you stay around for 35 years. You don't have to plant the flag in every Everest peak. You get to a base camp, you stay within the Peter Principle, then you make your advance up, you use your head, and you go out periodically. You know, I saw Joe Biden out and about today. He's wearing a mask. It's an eye mask. And he might be the president of the United States.
Dennis Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Dennis, great to talk to you again, man. Appreciate the time, buddy.
Later, kid.
There he is, Dennis Miller, ladies and gentlemen.
At Dennis DMZ on Twitter.
Not the demilitarized zone.
No.
Dennis Miller zone. Ah, and there it is, Harry. Another one in the books, as they like to say on radio stations.
Dennis took it right to the post.
Yes, he did. He's a pro. Win a